Dr. Bob, it can be overwhelming when you go to the grocery store and trying to look at labels, and you see a lot of all natural and 100% this and that. What do you look for when you're looking at a label? How do you know if it's healthy or what's actually in that product?
That is probably the biggest challenge that we're dealing with right now in America, because there are certain rules and laws that most of the manufacturers are figuring out how they can slip under. And I'm not saying this to be funny. If you look at ingredients, and they have words in there that you cannot figure out what those words are, especially if they end up in an OL, which is some kind of an alcohol, that has been manufactured and it's very artificial, very fake. You'll see, in even sports drinks today, sports drinks have sucralose in it. Sucralose is Splenda. Splenda is chlorinated sugar. They will also have sugar in it, but you also will see colors like Red Lake 4, Blue Lake 6. Those are artificial colors. So you don't want to eat any product that has artificial colors in them for sure. I would question soy and even canola oil. A reason you say, what about canola oil? Well, see, canola oil, from what I'm reading, comes from rapeseed oil, which is a genetically engineered source of oil that comes out of Canada. Canola oil means oil of Canada. So I personally would not use that myself. If it says all natural, and recently they had just a major cereal company that said all natural, but in the ingredients they had soy. Most of the soy in the United States today is genetically engineered. So we do have a reprieve. Supposedly, according to the law, USDA certified organic means no GMO. Okay. USDA certified organic means you should feel comfortable and safe in what's going on. But probably one of the biggest dupes that we're seeing out there today is this. T stands for trans fat, C stands for the good oil. We're going to briefly talk about this, because I know that part of the individuals watching us right now will see 0 grams trans fat on a package. And then you have to pull your trifocals out, and you're going to see minuscule, but even bring your microscope, per serving. We have a book called Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide. We go in great detail in this book how to read a label. But I'll be really to the skinny on this. A product can say 0 grams trans fat if it has a half a gram of trans fat or less per serving. In 1998, they released a study called the Nurses Study. 100,000 nurses. In this study, they said if a nurse consumed 1 gram of trans fat or more per day, she'd increase her chances of having heart disease by 20%. Now, right now, female in the United States, one of the leading causes of their death is heart disease. So going back to 1998, they said if a nurse ate a gram of trans fat or more per day, it increased their chance of having cardiovascular disease by 20%.
Just 1 gram?
1 gram, 20%. In 2005, they released this law. They made this law come into force and said, if a product has a half a gram of trans fat or less per serving, they can say 0 grams trans fat. So let's just say potato chips. Half a gram of potato chips, 18 potato chips, for example. I don't know about you. Even though I'm Dr. Bob, if I had ever had a weak moment, give me the chips. And don't just give me the chips. Give me a bag of chips. I don't care if they have trans fat on them or not. So I don't try to ever get in that weak moment. But I eat the whole bag. I wouldn't even feel bad. Maybe 2 days later I'd feel bad. I would literally feel bad. Well, if you eat 18 chips, you're okay. That's the mindset. But if you eat 25 or 30, you're getting your gram. So here's something that a lot of people don't realize. Fat has a half-life. The half-life of a cis or normal fat is 18 days. That's why the title of my ADHD book is Dr. Bob's Guide to Stop ADHD in 18 Days. It's one of the most misunderstood books on the planet, because people who see my title think that Dr. Bob cures people in 8 days. It's nothing about Dr. Bob. It's about physiology. But the half-life of trans fat is 51 days. That means if somebody ate those 32 potato chips today and they got a gram of trans fat in their body, the negative effect of that trans fat is really 102 days. So it's cumulative. We say, well, Dr. Bob, what does trans fat do? It causes inflammation in the body. It stops your body from making healthy fats. Now, to a lot of people watching us that are much younger than you and I are, this is an old printer cable, and I didn't have the heart to throw it away. But I use this as a visual. Visuals are so important. This is your spinal cord.
Okay.
Your brain sends messages on a layer of fat. So your brain sends messages on fat. See, it's like the human body is so mysterious to everybody. It is not. I used to love human dissection. I taught it when I was going to school. I loved it because I learned so much. So your brain sends messages down the spinal cord layer of fat. It's called the myelin sheath. It's always a test question on all boards, by the way. So if you're eating trans fatty acids, your brain can't send the message down properly. Leading cause of ADHD, leading cause of Alzheimer's and dementia, leading cause of depression. 50 million Americans are depressed. 50 million. Do you know how many pounds of trans fat are made in America on a regular basis? 8 billion. Do you know how many grams of trans fat are used by the restaurant industry alone? 5 billion. Do you know the average American consumes 252 meals outside of the house? Kids eat 167 meals outside of the house. 31 million kids eat at the National School Lunch Program today. We're living in the land of artificial foods, and so you have to look at the label. So look at these breakfast bars today. They really concern me. If they have sugar in them, I would put it down. If they have sucralose in them, there's a lot of new terms. All-sulfame potassium, it's ACES, all-sulfame potassium. They usually put that with sucralose. Anytime you see a chemical that they use, like sodium benzoate. Sodium benzoate is very common in soda as a preservative. It's one of the leading causes of allergies, sodium benzoate. And it's very popular in sodas. Another one that's very interesting is caramel coloring. Caramel coloring usually comes from barley. Barley has gluten in it. Rye, wheat, oats, barley, gluten. You could have a chronic allergy from drinking soda pop. That's not counting in soda pop phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid causes osteoporosis because it takes calcium out of the body. So you can see, wow, what are you saying, Dr. Bob? So that means if you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that has sugar in it and possibly trans fat, on white bread that has bromine in it, in jelly that has high fructose corn syrup, which we didn't even touch on high fructose corn syrup, or maltodextrin, with a soda, do you think you're going to be healthy?
Likely not.
That's what's going on in America today.